because I've posted that. That was in. That was in.
You're talking.
G'day and welcome to the 71st episode of the Destiny Down Under podcast. Where professionalism, as always, is at of the utmost importance. Now we'll give you a break, man. You've had a big few days.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I was looking at reading other stuff then, and I didn't even hear you say. You know what? Sloth normally does that. That's what Sloth normally does.
Yeah, Sloth normally comes in saying something incredibly offensive about half a second before we go live. And then I've got to try and keep a straight face and do whatever I do. But here we all are. We weren't expecting to be together this week. We were expecting to be far-flung, and Matt was, going to be over in America, which he is, but, we've found out that they've got the internet over there as well, so it's all worked out swimmingly.
I'm happy to report the US has internet.
Good job. I just thought, Goth was streaming using magic. Some kind of arcane
just
force.
magic.
All right, well, we have an absolute massive episode to get through today. There is an absolute mountain or summit to climb in terms of information to get over. So, I don't know, dudes. Just quickly, how have you been, Sloth? Because we're going to get into how Matt's been in pretty big detail, I think, pretty shortly.
I'm dead.
I'm dead. Yeah, I've been dead this week as well. I've been really sick, so I'm glad that I've come good right in time for this. But all right, Matt, let's just go with it because that's what people are here for, right? I want to know a little bit about the summit. We'll jump straight into it. I'm not going to keep you waiting.
All right. Why don't I sort of go through the format? I think people might be interested in what the format of what happened. So it was over 2 days, Thursday, Friday. Thursday, I expected to, because we were there to capture gameplay for Warmind. Well, no, we weren't there just for that, but that was one of the things we were going to do there. I expected that to come first and then feedback to come on the second day, but we got straight into giving feedback on the first day. That's how they opened. With everything that we're here to get feedback directly from you guys, and of course, and everyone needs to know the expectation for Warmind was already shipped. Okay, so none of these conversations, none of the things that we said during the forum or the summit are going to get into Warmind. That ship's already sailed. Changes have been made for Warmind, and you'll see them when that comes out. But nothing that we spoke about at the summit was going to influence that. So we were talking about future changes, and that's how we started on that day. We had group feedback sessions to get everyone's opinion, and then we divided up, and we had breakout groups, and we had different developmental different guys from different teams with different areas of specialties, and just an open discussion session. They had questions they wanted to ask us. We had questions we wanted to ask them. And that's what happened for the first day. The second day, we were able to capture some footage, and we did the same thing. The second half of that day was breakout sessions again. With the team, with different topics to talk about. The general tone was pretty outstanding. I think everyone had an expectation to, you don't want to go into someone's house and tell them how to cook. I think everyone I think everyone
what you fucking do, but if someone cooks like shit, I'm gonna fucking tell them.
That was the first.
Well, that's why you weren't invited.
Yeah, you marked your card for future events. Never going. Sloth will tell you how to cook.
And Sloth, they might be watching here, so it's less. And
good. Deej, if you're listening, I don't want to come. I just want to play your damn game. Keep inviting Matt.
I think there was like a lot of respect on both sides. I think content creators had a lot of respect of being there for the purpose of improving the game, and the developers had not that my expectations were low for them, but they surprised me with how willing they were to listen and to like, okay, we're gonna make like to give you this example, and I can't use specifics for it, but they pitched an idea, and the forum said, yeah, nah, everyone's gonna fucking hate that, and they said, "Oh, tell us why," and there's like everyone's gonna fucking hate that, and metaphorically, they got that idea and they threw it in the fucking bin and they said, "What do you want?" That's the level of acceptance to like taking feedback. And I'm not talking about small things either. Like I'm talking about big fucking things. And that to me was really surprising because I didn't think they would have that flexibility. If maybe like them wanting to do that, I could understand, but being like, but you know, the end of the day, they've got all the information now. It's about delivery for what comes after Warmind. So if and this is my general thoughts on the forum, if they implement everything or even 80% of what was said at this forum, my opinion has completely changed on the future of Destiny. Before going into this, I really thought that the Warmind DLC was the last opportunity to convert or to keep people in the franchise. I honestly believe if the most angriest, not the most angriest, a lot of the, like someone that says Warmind DLC is going to come out, I know people are going to be like, this is the same shit as Osiris. It's a little bit better. And people are like, I'm not giving any more fucking money to Bungie. I guarantee like 80% of those people will come back if those changes come into place. Because they will see that shit and be like, you got me. I apologize. Not apologize. You were shitty back then, but I really want to play this game now.
I hope that's the case, mate. I really do. Like, obviously you're going over there and I mean, you're not the only one that says that it's been positive, but it's good to hear that firsthand. However, I'm still sort of a little bit umming and ahhing. Like, of course it's better. Like, we enjoyed Log, Keg and I and Log and whoever else we were when we were grinding for the Don't Fuck Arachnids hand cannon. I mean, that was...
Hey, do you know what that stands for? I found out what that stands for now.
What does it stand for?
Well, the great thing was at this, I was lumped with the non-US because you know it was like Australia, UK, and Europe, and then like US, like in regards to like Activision like looking after us. So I hanged out with like some of the like the Germans and that kind of thing, and the translation it gets translated properly in other languages. So it's Death from Above is the.
Oh, of course it is. How
There you
obvious is that in
go.
hindsight?
I know.
I mean, it's only the Cabal that come down in their giant balls from above.
Death from Above.
Nah,
Death from
still
Above.
the Don't Fuck Arachnids. But like we were playing that the other day, and that was fun. But I think it was fun because we were sitting there chatting away, which is what we're good for, you know.
Yeah, but that's always been Destiny. I think that.
So I'm saying I feel like there's enough changes that it's not going to be dependent on because we have a good time together. I feel like there's
enough reward
in the future. If they implement the things that we spoke about, there'll be enough things coming back and things to keep you playing. And one of their goals is to make it a hobby again. And if they implement everything that we spoke about, I think it'll be very appealing for a lot of people, and even the most angriest Destiny fans, I think, will take a look. They will take a serious look. Whether they're going to invest their money again, I don't know. They'll probably wait a week, but if everything goes according to plan, I reckon after the first week, people are like, oh, fucking got to get in. I got to get back into this game.
You know what though? Like I've come to the conclusion that I never really wanted to run it on 3 platforms, and I don't think I'll ever get back into doing like Destiny maining per se. But I'm going to pick it up on PC. I'm going to play it on PC, and just for the sheer fact that I'm actually, this is the first time in many months that I'm actually excited to play Destiny again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it for full, you know, disclosure and full transparency and all that sort of thing. I didn't go to this thing, guys.
Yeah.
Where do you think they'd invite some bearded fuckwit? Oh wait.
So I was wondering where that was going. I knew there was some sting in the tail.
So
get back to the event.
I should say this before I forget. And Twitch's rules are a little bit more slack for this, but people do need to know, and I think this is important to know. You know, they paid for my flights from Australia to the US. I've never stayed in a hotel this fucking nice in my life. Like they paid for this like very nice hotel, and they've covered costs of food and breakfast and you know, taken us out to dinner, and so, you know, that has been paid for, right? So people need to understand that, and I think that does influence stuff as much as you try to be neutral. It does influence your opinion, and speaking to someone face to face 100% influences your opinion way more positively than text or from reading a Bungie update, right? Like hearing it come from someone's mouth has a different impact, and that does influence. You know, I'm still on the fly high kite. I'm still in the US. I've literally finished coming out of the forum, right? As much as I try to be neutral about the market machine, like it is going to influence my opinion. And so just take that with a grain of salt. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're aware of that.
Well,
and you're being very open and honest about it, so credit where it's due.
Like, open and honest about it and all that sort of thing.
I imagine if they said to everyone, oh, just, hey, Matt from Australia, spend thousands of dollars of your own money to get over here and tell us what's wrong with our game. It would have been a different proposition, right? There would have been one little Western Australian going, fucking what? No! Can I just send you an email or a survey that I've got thousands of respondents for? Getting back to the event itself, just a few questions, just curiosity from my perspective. So did they have like sort of pre-organized things that, you know, like, so did they have things that they wanted you particularly to be involved in, or like were there things that they wanted particular people involved in, like to sort of, you know, like questions that they wanted to steer towards you or for you to question them about things? Or
no, so my exact feedback was that, so, you know, we had moments to debrief at the end, and to say like, guys, how can we do this better? And my feedback was, you know, we've got lots of different personalities in this room, and some people are very comfortable with thinking and speaking off the cuff, and some people have different experiences, like PvP. There are people in there that know this game like to the nth degree when it comes to PvP and stats and like, you know, they can just spill that stuff off and they can have a conversation. But someone like me, like I probably could have something of value to add, but I need to know what that question is like a day before, and I need to sort of like work it out. So my feedback was next time they do one, and I do think they'll do a next one. And for those who didn't get invited, I do think that they'll do a rotation system and they'll get different people. I think that I really hope that they'll pre-line their agenda. They'll ask for the content creators to cross-check that with what they want to talk about, and then we'll have a little bit more structure to the feedback, sort of the focus groups, the breakout groups. Yeah.
That's unreal.
That's it.
Sorry, Slothy?
No, I was just I was going to ask, mate, like it's sort of a little bit of a sideways question because you said it before, but they said that you said that they were capturing Warmind footage there as well. So and to further expand on that question, Sad asked from the chat, I've heard accusations from community members, not people who attended the summit, that Bungie was using this more as a PR event rather than actually hearing feedback.
Yeah.
I assume you didn't feel that way. I know that you've already covered it a wee tad, but I mean, was there any sort of negative Nancy's, I guess you could say.
So,
who went there?
So Deej was very quick to address that. I think that was very known, and I think that was like the way that they started the event quashed that really quickly. Like, we're not here to, from Bungie side, they didn't put the capture first. They're like, we're here to talk about solutions. We're here to talk with the community. And I was quite impressed that was first. Like, that was priority. That was number one. You know, we're going to spend more time doing this, and we're going to do it now. Look, you can't say that there's not PR in there. But I mean, that's part. There wasn't like a huge focus. Like, the game capture was like, all right, guys, like, you got an hour. Like, there was nothing like crazy with the game. It was like, you get in, you sit at the computer, like, you just like play this. Like, you like it, you like it. If you don't, like, it doesn't matter. And a lot of people went in. I know from talking to the other content creators that their primary focus wasn't to capture footage. And some people, like some of the bigger guys, didn't even bother capturing footage. They're like, oh yeah, I'm happy to play it, but I'm not going to post it. Do you know? Like, there were some guys that are like, I don't.
Good.
Well,
You know what? That's actually really good to hear. You know, that is really good to hear. I'm quite happy in that respect.
I don't. You can't say there's no PR. Of course, there's PR in it. It wasn't the focus. I didn't get the impression it was a focus. I didn't feel like the developers. I didn't feel like this was a grand plan to do a PR spin, and my main evidence for that is that example of the team pitching us an idea, which they were going to make, and throwing it in the fucking bin. If it was PR, they wouldn't have done that. I mean, we haven't seen the delivery yet. Because if that shit comes back out of the bin, like, I
be like, motherfuckers, we told you,
Yeah, and that, I mean, but that's the thing now. Now there are people that have been there, and everyone's heard of what has been said, and there's been consensus reached on certain topics, and that is really going to hold Bungie to delivering, because they were also very clear that, like, we can't make certain promises, right? But they were very receptive to it. So, like, you know, there is a bit of leeway there, but I can definitely imagine if some things came about exactly how they were presented there will be huge backlash, big backlash, yeah.
Well,
Especially
least,
like.
Sorry, Sloth.
No, go on, mate. Go on.
I was
mate.
just going to say, they've set themselves a yardstick now. Like, if you know, when there's something that is universally acknowledged as a bad idea by the community representatives that were there, I mean, if they were then to come out and do that, it'd be fucking borderline suicide, because the first thing that'll happen is everyone will come out and say, you floated this idea when we were there and we all told you it was fucked. And then, like, I mean, for me, that,
and then they went back and did it anyway. Like, not only would the community backlash be pretty big, but the people probably not like yourself, because you're not a very. This isn't to your detriment, Matt. You're not a very confronting person.
No,
you don't do confrontation.
Maybe in a past life.
But, like, even to the point where people would be like, you sat there and fucking lied to my face and said that we were getting rid of this shit and you've put it back in the game. It, like, as Log said, it would be absolute suicide. Yeah. It would be absolute fucking suicide.
You know, I got the impression that genuinely listening and genuinely intention to incorporate that feedback, whether that comes to, you know, you got to put all the logistics on top of that, right? They haven't even sat down as a team. Like, that was like on the day. They haven't even sat down as a team and, like, okay, like, how do we do this now? Like, how do we fucking make this happen? And how close can we get to what the community wants as a vision for this game? So, you know, it's not going to be exactly. I doubt it's going to be exactly what we want, but I definitely got the impression that it was very genuine. It was taken very professionally. There was a lot of passion, but not necessarily anger, but a lot of passion. And like no one likes hearing that this, even if you know your stuff's shit and it hasn't worked, you don't fucking like hearing it. Like you don't like hearing it. And they took it really well. So that's the I haven't got to the lore yet, right? And
No, dude,
this is all just
Can
like,
you talk about that at all?
yeah. So I can talk.
Hang on. But before we get into the lore, let's knock the news out of the way, and then we can sit back and have a real chat about it. Is that
what,
cool with you, dudes?
what a fucking cliffhanger!
Now you're gonna sit through a verbal recitation of this week at Bungie. You're gonna have to hang around. But first, a message from our sponsors.
News first. After these ad breaks, we will be right back with more lore. No, ladies and gentlemen, the TWAB this week, they've really sort of looked into some exotic adjustments and all that sort of thing, which is good. It's actually making exotics feel exotic for the first time since Destiny 2 has come out. They've really gotten into. So they've got 3 videos on there. They've got the Graviton Lance, they've got the Rat King, and they've got what's the last one? Skyburner's Oath.
Yeah.
Oath. Skyburner's Oath. So, from what I can tell from these videos, they are just absolutely incredible. If you haven't checked out the T-Web this week, please go and watch the videos. Graviton Lance actually feels it
looks ridiculous, and that's good. That's a good.
So incredible. It feels so incredible.
I think
same with Skyburner's Oath.
All 3 of them harken back to that idea when we first saw the colony, and we all went, "Why aren't all exotics fucking crazy like this?" They are all to some extent pretty crazy. Like even like Skyburners is probably the most, subtle of the 3 of them. And even it, like, it just shoots when you hit fire it. It shoots tracking projectile grenade things. Like, wow, okay, sign me up.
Like so. That's something I always wanted for like Sleeper Simulate. I always wanted like when you shot Sleeper Simulate that thing had some tracking on it. Like it would bounce off walls and like ricochet back into the enemies with some sort of like tracking, and that's cool. I mean, I have to watch it again, but it sounds dope.
Yeah, well, definitely give it a watch. And then you've got a little bit of Warmind information here, ladies and gentlemen. We won't go on to it too long, but when the Warmind DLC expansion number 2 first comes out, soft cap 340, hard cap 380, probably 385 as we were discussing prior to the start of the cast with modifications and all that sort of thing. Hopefully that it is more of a grind this time around.
Oh, dude, when you read that, I don't think there's any question about there's going to be a grind. I mean, we're going to be in the grindiest part of it the second that it starts, because we're pretty much already in that hardcore, the grind. Like.
But it's still like I would like to see the grind be grindy, like D1 grindy. Not like not forever 29 grind, but you know what I mean.
Oh man,
no, like,
3.5 years later, it 29. Still hurts, man.
Oh,
right in the heart, right in the feels. But I mean, there is a lot in there, and I mean, it's definitely worth a read if you jump into it. But basically, what they're saying is that loot will slow down once you hit 340, and the progression will slow down. The sources, you will need to be doing the harder activities to really be burning up through the light levels beyond that. The other thing is, that reaching, that basically the pull quote from it was that through the life of the content, if you aren't consistently trying, you may not reach the cap, which is a big statement, because I mean, as it stands, it's not been all that difficult. The other thing is exotics won't drop at maximum light anymore. They will also be sort of brought back down to the standard loot pool, so that you'll have to grind and raise them too. So they're not that automatic, like there'll be something in there that's a higher level and I'll infuse it. It's not that process anymore. It does sound like it's going to be a hell of a lot more grindy, and this is one of those things that, like, arguably there is no perfect balance for a grind like this. Like we enjoyed what we had in Destiny 1, but we didn't have the context of understanding what else was really out there. We didn't understand what was too quick, what was too slow. We just liked what we had.
Yeah.
You look at a different game like
I mean,
Thieves, and it is fucking way
this
too
just
grindy.
sounds like valuing their weapons. This sounds like you start to value the stuff that you earn, and that's a good thing.
Damn straight. Because,
I know we've spoken
shit,
about this
hand
at
over fist.
Bungie's spoken about this at length, but like the fucking exotics, they're starting to feel exotic aces, but I would like to see exotic drops be not as many, and I would like to see zero, zilch double ups if they can help it. If they can help it, of course.
Well, isn't the duplicates already in there or not? Isn't that coming?
It's not there yet.
It's been coming since the fucking release of the game, Matt. You know this.
I've got 100,000 pairs of Eon safe fucking gauntlets that say otherwise. Literally every time I get one. I was saying to Keg the other night, it's just more Eon safes. It's really nothing. It's just more Eon safes. It's crap.
But as someone as Darwin, thank you, Darwin, has just pointed out, the chat, it needs to be reward for investment.
Yeah,
it's a very apt way of putting it. Like, it's basic, it's simple, but it's a very apt way of putting it. So I'm quite happy to take his words and thieve them and use them as my own. So thanks, Darvin.
Yeah.
So
you just credited him. Really?
I did,
Good
yeah.
job. Good
job. And then you've got a little bit of chat about Iron Banner. I haven't played Iron Banner this week. Have you? I know you haven't, Matt, because you've been off gallivanting around the fucking world. But Log, have you played any Iron Banner this week while you've been ill?
I have. I was sick. So I played quite a lot of Iron Banner, if I'm honest. I sat around. I've mostly been solo queuing, right? And that normally is the path to, really negative thoughts and, just being generally pissed off with everything. But, I mean, the 6v6 is more chaotic. Like, the first few games, I got into them and I was like, oh my fucking God. I mean, the maps are smaller than Destiny 1, and that's really what you need to remember, is they were designed for 4 people. They now have, or they were designed for 8 people. They now have 12 running around, and it is more chaotic. But there is something in there that does feel a bit more, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's sort of me just people getting out of it what they want to, see really, but it is fun. It is like there's definite. I'm gonna stream tonight, and I'm gonna get all the clan dudes together, and we're gonna do a 6-man death squad if we can do it, and go back to the good old days if that was what the clan was, and we're gonna literally, if you jump in there and you see 6 people all in the same clan on the opposition team, you're gonna get bent over. I've been up against it a few times and got absolutely bent over, so that's the plan. But I don't know. I mean, it seemed more rewarding too. Like, I got a lot of decent drops. I played for maybe. I didn't play heaps. I played for maybe 4 or 5 hours all up, and I got. I reckon I got maybe 3 or 4 exotic engrams drop in that time.
Really?
Maybe 4 or 5 masterworks of different varieties. Guns, armor, stuff. There was a lot more to get out of it. I really felt like it was, that opened the charts a little bit on that front.
Sorry, you're breaking up a bit. What's the armor? I haven't even had a chance to look at it.
Masterwork.
Is it the same? Sorry?
Masterwork armor.
You're breaking up really badly, Log.
I am.
You're breaking up really badly, Matt. Yeah.
All right. Well, you talk.
It was just when you were typing though. It's weird. Anyway, sorry. Can you say it one more time?
With Masterwork armor, you mean? What's the deal with it?
Yeah. No. What's the Iron Banner armor? Has that been rotated to something else?
No, it hasn't been rotated yet. It's still the same, but you can still go through and unlock all of those ornaments. So I've actually unlocked a few this week. I honestly, I didn't play much than the last Iron Banner either. So I'm a little bit behind and I'm catching up. But I'm not sure about the weapons. I can't go past the what's the Egyptian palsy called? The Vigiwang.
Vigilance.
I can't go past that. So really, I haven't dabbled too much with the Iron Banner weapons, but we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, there's no new armor or anything like that. That'll be season 3. That'll be when a couple of weeks from now when Warmind drops. So
okay.
So you're banned from typing.
Cool.
So I was talking to some people in my community, namely Katakana Hunter is in the chat at the mo.
Hello.
But you were saying on Thursday night while I was playing some Monster Hunter that he's got 670 odd fucking Iron Banner tokens or some shit. Because he's just been killing it. But like Iron Banner seems like it's a lot more fun. There seems to be a lot more hero moments because you can go, oh, team shot, team shot, team shot. But it just takes one. It just takes one Titan Slam to come out of there and just come out of the woodwork and go, hey, yarn bros, whack.
I'll tell
like
you
that
what,
sort of thing. Like,
I'll tell you the other thing I've noticed. I have a newfound respect for pole dancers. Because I can normally dance my way out of, like, I mean, I had a guy come at me with the Sentinel, and I just hopped around and danced around him until he super ran out. And I could tell that, like, I could nearly see the steam coming out of his ears about how frustrated he was.
you have a hunter?
No, I do not. No, I mean, as a Titan. And then I have not managed to successfully dodge a bloody pole dancer yet. They just, they are mean and they come in like lightning. And I feel like you can't put them down quick enough. But, you know, it is what it is. That and that screaming friggin' sword warlock thing. You know?
Yep.
Screaming blade of dongs.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stats on there from the Iron Banner if you guys could check that out. Whole bunch of error codes, so please check that out if you are checking out the error codes, and then there's Movie of the Week and all that sort of thing. So, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Myelin Games on the line. Myelin Games is going to talk about lore.
Can I just pull it back for an episode and just say that this is the weirdest episode ever because we're just grilling Matt? Like, normally when we've got a guest on, we you know, like we all sort of have our questions and whatever. This is just like, oh, we've turned on our mate. Let's pick him apart.
Hey, actually, just to make people wait a bit longer, do you want to hear a funny airport story on my way there?
I love a good airport story.
So my Sydney to LA flight was delayed by 2 hours, and I only had a 3-hour layover in LA, right? So when I arrived in LA, I had 1 hour to get from my plane to the next plane. Now, in any normal airport, that would be fine, but in LA, you have to wait for your bags. You have to pick up your checked-in luggage, exit the fucking airport, go to another terminal, go back to ticketing and put your bag back on because they force you to collect your bag and go through customs in case you're smuggling drugs or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So who do you think they fucking pick out of the line to then go to the extended customs search to rip apart your bag and look for like fucking contraband, right? So I'm like,
the dude with the top knot and the fucking dodgy beard.
Did they find your Ziploc bags full of stripper money or what?
I tell you, do you know what? That was in my bag, and I saw them, and I took them out. But this is the other thing, right? So I'm talking to the fucking guy at customs, like stamps your passport, and like I'm trying to explain what I'm doing there because they ask you, they ask you the general like business or pleasure. And I'm like, oh, it's a bit of both, you know, like I'm trying to
charm the
like,
bastard.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm going to a game development company, and he said, "Did you say gang development company?" I was like, "No, not gang, game development company." I was like, "Why would I tell you I'm going to a gang development company?"
What kind of company develops gangs? What the
gang development.
Anyway, once I got past that, I got picked out to rip apart my bag, and I'm like, I'm not making this plane, that's for sure. I hope I can get into the flight. And Holtzman, Patrick Casey, is a Magic the Gathering card lover, and he said, I'll give a good home to any Magic cards you don't want. So before I left, I grabbed this massive box of Magic cards that I just never play with and never use, and I was going to give it to him. And they were wrapped up in like a box of duct. It looked like a drug package. As soon as that went through the X-ray, little did I know, because once I spoke to Holtzman, he's like, yeah, Magic cards look like drugs because of the density, because you put all these cards together and they show up really funny on like the machines and stuff. So I had to cut open all this packaging, and like, what's in it? I'm like, playing cards. Like what? Like playing Magic the Gathering cards. Okay, they're nerdy. They're nerdy.
They would have never known what Magic the Gathering cards are. They're just like, oh, you got playing cards. No. Listen, I'm a nerd. I have Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah, I know, like Magic cards.
This has to be one of the most humiliating experiences I've ever heard of. You've been dragged in by customs, treated like a fucking terrorist, and humiliated as the nerd you are.
Anyway,
Yay,
I made a very valiant attempt to get on that plane. I fucking ran. I don't know. People have been to LA airport. I ran from one terminal. I didn't know if there was a bus. I just started running like with my bag. I had to check in with fucking like backpack to check in. Anyway, I didn't make it. I got there in the end. Here, okay. That's the airport story done.
Did Holtzman did he get the cards?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
right.
and
That's a happy ending for the cards.
He's a beast. He looked through them all and was like, "Yep, these are the good ones," and he's like, "These are the bad ones," and I'll take them off. I was like, "Great."
Yep, these are the bad ones.
These are all trash. Thanks for your effort, you drug smuggler.
Prison colony.
Yeah. Okay, so
that was a good story, man. I'm glad that we stopped, and it's far more important than the lore, I think. But let's dive in, right?
So
I think can we kick off from the servo, right? Because we kind of haven't really spoken since that all wrapped up, and it was a big part of what you took there and what you had for Bungie.
Yeah. So for those who maybe most people know, let me just start at the beginning. So there wasn't. I as far as I know, I was probably the sole person invited with my background or my area of interest being lore and story. So I was sort of going as that collective voice about lore and story to the summit and to give feedback. And I thought that's the area that I'm going to give feedback on. I'm not going to give feedback on PvP. I'm not going to give feedback on, I have opinions on those things, but there are so many people going that I feel like those opinions are going to be well, represented, and I'm going to focus on story and lore because I think that's not going to be very well represented. I got other content creators who make lore from Reddit, from Twitter, from YouTube, from podcasts, anyone that I could think of that would contribute to making questions. We did like essentially a Twitter focus group. What questions would you send? We made the survey. We sent the survey out. It was completed about 5,000 times. We had 5,000 people submit blank forms, which immediately just get removed from the data anyway. So thanks for that.
Matt,
I hope you spent.
Don't freak out that Sloth just got up and walked away. He doesn't hate the law. It's fine.
No, I was just.
He's got a crook back.
My back.
He's got a crook back.
My back is really
he's a
killing
decrepit
me.
old
Sorry,
man, and he needs to get it.
No, man, it's okay. It's okay. So we did that. I had a couple days to put together the results. I was working like an animal. I got most of the questions done. I put together a report for that, and I wrote down essentially the themes that came through, the main topics from 5,000 surveys. I then feeded those main topics back to my original guy, like the Twitter lore guys, the YouTube lore guys, the Reddit lore guys, my own network to ask, like, do you reckon this is accurate? They gave feedback again, and that's what I took with me to Bungie, and that was my intention to portray those things in that survey to Bungie. So after the first day, it was an uphill battle, and there were a couple of reasons for that. And the first reason is there weren't any people from the story team on the panel. The second reason is, I was the sole person looking at that, so it's very hard to get a conversation going about it if you're the only person like representing that. But I still had another day left, but I was like feeling pretty down about that, and Holtzman was there, and I just provided him with magic cards. So I walked over him, and he asked me, "Yeah, how's it going?" And I said, "I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. Like, I expected there to be someone from the story team here," and he just Christopher Barrett was like just literally a meter away from me, and he just said, "Fucking talk to him." And then Chris Barrett said, "Hello, what can I help you with?" And I introduced myself, and I said, "Well, man, I've got this survey, and I've got all this feedback from people in the law community and story, and I don't really feel like I have opportunity to talk to someone about it." And he said, "That's okay, because tomorrow we'll have a meeting, and I'll get someone from the narrative from the story team, and you can tell us everything you want to tell us." So today it was me, Christopher Barrett, and one of the narrative leads in Destiny 2, and I got to portray nearly everything, if not everything, on that survey to them. Now, what I can say about that is I'm allowed to tell you what questions I asked them.
Can
so
you
I'm
tell
going to
us
tell
the
you.
answers though?
So I asked, I said, "Can I tell people I was really happy with your responses?" He said, "Yes." "Can I tell people you were like really respectful and that you took notes and we seem to be on the same page of many topics?" He said, "Yes." "Yeah, okay, good." So like just put that in the context, right? So I'm going to tell you the questions that the topic that I brought up, the things that I said, and I can tell you that I felt very respected. I felt like they hit, and I felt like we were on the same page, and I felt like Christopher Barrett is a massive, massive advocate for law and story, and I actually think, I think without him there, they would have a tough time. It is a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit like jocks and nerds. Like the PvP guys are the jocks, man, and like the story guys are like the nerdy, like really. I know you're like a game development company, but they're like the really nerdy dudes, and they're a little bit quiet, you know. And but that environment suited us, you know, to have that conversation. So there were a couple other guys with me that had an interest in law, not as extensive background as me, but felt like they could provide an opinion. So Aeronite
Yep.
came in as well,
Yep.
and his name's just fucking. I like spent all week with these names just float out of my head. PvP Crucible stuff. It sounds like Hercules. Mercules.
Mercules? Yeah. Stats
Yes,
man.
Mercules. Yes, stat man. Mercules was with me as well, right? And he was great. And these guys were more fans of lore videos, right? But they had some knowledge, but they were fans of, from a layman's point of view, of like, yeah, we want to see this too. So that was great. We had some bit of backup. So this is the lore summary, the results from the survey. And I feel like I covered nearly all of his points. The meeting went for over an hour with just those people in the room, which is fucking cool. I don't know if other people had that opportunity, but that was a really big opportunity. I don't know if you guys are meant to know. There's a director of Destiny 2 that you won't know, and he was there. And I said, "Oh, Chris said he was going to meet with me today," and he went off and found Chris, and we found a room and we had this chat. So one thing we brought up a lot was the continuation of story in raids, and how a lot of people in the survey brought up the Taken King. And they brought up how Oryx had a backstory. They brought up how Oryx had this development, how they felt that conclusion was really satisfying. They felt that there was continuity between the campaign and the raid. And the Taken King was probably unanimously agreed upon as being one of the best DLCs with a really good conclusion from it. Because the question was about conclusion. So what I brought up was my issues with Leviathan and how I feel like Callus was a great villain, but didn't have enough introduction in the campaign or enough missions or adventures to introduce that character so people knew something about him, and there weren't enough in-game mechanics to help people recognize him being the big bad dude. and also my concerns with raid layers and how they could be a really potential powerful mechanic to keep telling story and give really good conclusions. But the way that the raid layers were introduced also lacked some sort of campaign story connection. So we made it very clear that there was a link between what you play in campaign and story and the raid, and that they're powerful mechanisms for telling story.
Sorry about that, Matt.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting feedback for a second.
Yeah.
The next thing we spoke about is exotic quests and how we felt that exotic quests are also really powerful mechanisms for telling stories. Touch of Malice had this beautiful synergy with developing Oryx's backstory while telling a whole story in itself and developing the character of Eris. And Eris came across as a very strong character in Taken King. And a lot of that was delivered through an exotic quest, and that's really powerful too. And we just have not had that level of exotic quests in Destiny 2. And we want to see more. And we think that is a great way to get the casual lore person into the lore, because you give them a powerful exotic weapon that mechanically feels powerful, but that they know has history. And that is like the cherry on top. You know, when you got the Galahorn, and even if you don't know exactly how that was made, you know Galahorn. You guys know Galahorn has history. When you pick up Touch of Malice, you know that weapon feels part of the world. It feels alive. And indeed, too, none of the exotics, not only do they not feel powerful from a mechanical point of view, but they don't feel alive. They don't have the same feeling. So we spoke a lot about exotic quests and how that they're lacking in Destiny 2. We had a really big conversation about mystery and conclusion, and how hard that is to balance not solving anything, how to give some things conclusions, some examples of things that had some good conclusions but also left mystery. Tough. They asked us questions like, what things would you, if we solved this, would you be happy with that? If we gave you like a concrete answer, would you be happy with that? Stuff that I never thought I'd be asked that question. You know, like, and I think what we made obvious was, we don't want everything solved. We don't want everything spelled out. But there are some things that you guys need to decide to give us a conclusion on. Or the other really important thing is, we need to know that there will be some commitment to solving some of the main ones.
Yeah.
Because that Exo Stranger obviously came up a lot. Like, we need to know, like, if you're going to introduce something major, that there will be commitment to give some resolution to it. It can still be an open-ended resolution, but, like, you know, like, this is hard, because you could say, oh, well, the Exo Stranger had a resolution, right? You got a gun from her, and then she went off to fight other... But...
She's such an interesting character that you kind of need to know. Like, the part that interests most people about the Exo Stranger isn't getting the gun from her at all. It's finding out, like, who is this person who just appears, disappears, why? Why does she sound like she's talking to me from another, you know, like a completely removed context? You know, they're the things that they need to...
Who are we talking? Or who is she talking to? Yeah. You know, what is this fight that she has to get back to, and all that sort of thing. It was very, very, very frustrating, at least for me. Anyone who's frequent any of our communities or frequent the cast, is that I didn't get into the lore until I got in with this bullfed here. And
you're talking about Matt, not me. I've generally just attracted.
No, I'm doing it to the camera. It's Matt, that one. And like, I didn't really, and then, you know, like, it sort of got into my head. It's like, who is she? Where was she? What was she? Who was she talking to? Where did she come from? Why was she so very muchly involved with getting rid of the Black Heart of the Garden and all that sort of thing? So
yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, it's good to see that they are sort of willing to open up on that respect, willing to open up on that point, on instead of just going, oh, all right, she's been retconned out of the lore. There's nothing there. You know, that it's just.
Yeah,
It's
just does
good to
harken
see. It's
back
really,
to
really
that,
good to see.
how important striking that balance between resolution to be able to make you feel satisfied and leaving it open-ended enough to be able to continue the story. And I think the Taken King and Oryx and all of that sort of stuff really does sort of hit that perfectly, because the campaign in itself comes to a pretty solid conclusion. You beat him, and then there's the clip with Eris and whatever else happens, and then the raid itself, you beat him again, and you see him floating off into space. But there's also that backstory of throne worlds and all of that sort of stuff, that there's these potential possibilities, and then the touch of malice on top of that sort of come along and sort of muddy the water about whether or not you've really defeated him finally or not. So mechanically satisfying to beat him, but still open-ended. I mean, I don't envy them in that respect. It'd be an incredibly hard balance to strike and get right, and have to get right continually. So
we had a big conversation about that, and we went through the DLCs, and we talked about did Rise of Iron did that, and how did it do that, and what things would you do differently, and how was that like that, and let's compare that to the Leviathan now, and how did that work, and what was different about that. And so we did spend a bit of time, and I get the impression that is very much at their forefront, and they're very much trying to work out how to do that. And I guess our best advice at that stage is, I think exotic quests are a great place to start, because everyone likes an exotic quest, right?
Everyone likes exotics. You're gonna make them cool.
Everyone likes it. If you make them cool, I think they're, there's other things in there too, but the things we spoke about are that. Now the other thing we spoke about is I think I can say this.
If you're not sure on it, man, if you're unsure on it, don't
hold on. Let me quiz you, and if you know the answer, then it's more public.
Who, me?
So
Sloth?
Yeah.
Can we make it chat?
Okay. Let me quiz you. So what do you think the number one goal? And think about broad goal, not like specifics. What would be the number broad goal of Bungie at the moment?
A broad goal of Bungie bringing people back into the fold, for one, and for two, they want the story to be back to where it was, so people actually have a reason to go back in and get back into the lore and all that sort of thing,
Yeah.
I think it's got to be along that line. They want people to reinvest, and for it to be.
Yes.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yes, that's 100%. So I can say that kind of thinking was set out very openly by the director of D2. And to put it to rephrase what you just said into more of their words, was we want Destiny to be a hobby again. Okay. And they've said that. I know they've said that before, right? That we want Destiny to be a hobby again. We want to give people reasons to log in each day. We want people to come back and enjoy that game for what it was. And Destiny didn't become that. And right up there with those main goals was lore. And not just lore, but respect for the lore was in the opening of the summer. That gave me crazy confidence that there are people like Chris Barrett that are pushing for better stories to come through.
So can we confirm from this point on, there's never going to be another Later Haters episode?
Look, I've given feedback about that too, and we'll talk about that topic as well.
When the NDA lifts, or can you talk about that today?
No. The great thing is, Later Haters was on my report, and I can talk to you about the conversation, the questions I asked, and the topics that we spoke about, and yeah, that's on there. So,
just out of curiosity, who is the D2 director? Is there a sort of a lockdown on that information, or do we know that particular person?
I don't.
If you're unsure, then don't worry.
I would say no.
Is it
To
the
be
Exo
honest-
Stranger?
It's the Exo Stranger. Those positions are very high stress, and I asked to reveal names of certain people, and they click. And whilst they were extremely happy to talk with me and get feedback, that's something that they don't want to deal with, and we have better avenues of getting to them through Cosmo and Deej, and that
Yep,
should always be the
absolutely.
avenue. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like I get where you're coming from with that. Like Cosmo and Deeds, they're there to do a job. They are the community managers, there to be the vuvuzela horn of the Destiny community, from the company side of things.
Yes.
You don't want people attacking a
Exactly.
a game director.
Vuvuzela horn.
The fucking loud.
What are you doing?
Oh my God.
And damage, of course. Get well damage. Get well.
Oh yeah, get well damage. Yeah, for sure.
So, and that was the next thing we spoke a lot about foundational law. We spoke a lot about respecting the foundation that had been laid as part of that conversation about mystery, and we spoke about not only, this is the balance, right? Not only giving some conclusion to some mysteries, not only keeping mystery, but also introducing new depth to Destiny's lore and universe. And I was very clear in saying that I do not think that Destiny 2 really expanded the universe at all. I don't think Destiny 2 expanded the universe in anywhere near that happened with D1. And
I'd actually think they probably closed the universe in. They didn't expand it. They actually, cut a lot of details out of it. Like they cut the lore out of it. They made it, instead of being lore per se. Like again, we've brought this up before, but instead of being lore per se, it's now just wives' tales and rumors and all that sort of thing. So yeah, they've completely sort of shrunk the universe and just focused on the game rather than the universe as a whole. Yeah. So,
and this like respect the law, I think is a derivative of that backlash, big time, really big time.
Before you get into your next little bit, that's a good question from Zerby J19. Thank you. Did somebody ask Bungie reps why our Guardians are mute now in story cutscenes? It feels awkward. Guardian speech was limited in D1, but at least it was there. Did that come up at all?
You know what? That sucks that didn't come up, and I feel like if I had more time, it's probably in my fucking survey. I did not have time to do full analysis on a lot of the questions, and shit. I thought I was really happy with all the questions I covered. I didn't ask that question, and I would be really interested in Chris's opinion on that, and I really would have liked that feedback. But sorry, that did not get through.
You know what? I know a lot. I know a lot of people didn't go there. They went there for the game. They didn't go there for social networking and all that sort of thing. But at least you've got that sort of in at the moment. I'd like something that you can ask like well down the track if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
But at least you've got that in there to sort of go, hey, excuse me, Mr. Barrett. Excuse me, Deej, Cosmo. Is there a reason why? And you've already got that conversation there open from previous times.
So, what I would recommend that person to do, and so, I'm gonna cover the rest of the topics, but let me just quickly skip to the end, okay? And the end was this, dear Mr. Narrative Lead, can I please give you this report? And the response, which I didn't know, is I actually can't take it. But Chris said, you make a Reddit post, you tag me in it. Okay.
Did he actually wink?
You know
Did
what?
he actually
I like
fucking
that.
wink?
No, I didn't wink.
Oh!
No.
Matt, Mr. Myelin Games, put it on Reddit.
just
Okay,
somewhere
so
I can get it.
So, please stay tuned for that tweet from me. I might even do it tomorrow, and I'm going to be very transparent. I am literally going to summarize exactly what I said here, I'm going to attach the raw results. I'm going to attach the survey, which is extremely unpolished, but that is what I took with me. And I think for transparency's sake, that's what I took with me as my notes, the raw data, and then my Reddit summary will be what we're exactly saying now. And I can almost guarantee you that devs will be looking at that post. So put that in the comments, and hopefully it is upvoted and hopefully it is read.
I'll upvote it.
So
I'd like to know the answer to it. I think it's
if you see this tweet, like just a little bit of admin, guys. If you see this tweet and you go onto Reddit, you actually have a Reddit account. I don't have a Reddit account. I'll just go on there to look at funny pictures, you know. But if you have a Reddit account, or if you put it in the YouTube comments on here, keep it constructive. I know you're passionate about it. But keep it constructive. Keep it. What's the term that I'm looking for? Don't be toxic.
Polite.
Civil.
Just be civil.
Civil. Don't be toxic. Just ask your question. I know it's hard to not be that sort of thing, but you know what I mean. Like, you get more with honey than you do with salt. You're sort of picking up what I'm putting down.
I can guarantee you.
Hey.
I was surprised. Sorry, Locke, go.
No, I was just going to say, like, Sloth just worked his way back from that horrible Vuvuzela analogy with you get more with honey than you do with salt, because that is straight bang on. Well done, man. Well done.
I think people will be surprised with how much content the developers consume. They might not write, like, be active on forums as such, but they read and watch a lot of shit.
Does that make you worry about them?
And not just like main content creators. Like, if they think that you put together feedback well, you could, you know, have a very small podcast and have a regular viewer who is a developer easily.
Are you warning us not to be nasty, Matt?
No. No,
I've just got that like huge sinking feeling of like, oh, what have I said?
Oh, there you go.
No, I've got nothing to worry about. I've got Slothy. He's the buffer. He go off way before me.
No, but that I don't know. It makes sense, but it did catch me off guard. Like they don't just follow the main guys. They don't just consume the content from the top dogs, because sometimes that's too biased and sometimes that's too diluted. Sometimes that's too angry. So, you know, if they find someone who gives good feedback, constructive, positive feedback, they do like to consume that content because it helps them do their job. So I think regardless of your size or how successful a Reddit post is, I would always write like a developer is reading it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Write your stuff like a developer is reading it. And you may be surprised. You may be surprised if you read it.
At the end of the day, like, you never know where it's going to end up. And that's like any piece of content that you create. It's like any photo you take of yourself and upload to the internet. You never know where it's going to end up. So, you know, if it's something like that and it's feedback, you've got to remember that if you really want to make a change, as Slothy says, honey, not salt, you'll get the inroads, and, you know, just take it that way. That's an important bit of feedback, and I'm glad we touched on it.
100%. All right, do you have any more that you would like to cover there, D-Matt?
Yeah, I think I've got a bit more, actually.
I'm gonna go get another beer, man. I'll be right back.
14 pages in front of him.
Do we need a fucking intermission, or...?
I'm like halfway through. We spoke about
I'll be right back.
We spoke about impact on the Destiny universe and how players like to feel they impact the world itself and how that helps. So it's a tough one, but I guess the example was like, the Traveler came back, but nothing really happened. Leviathan came in, but Nessus was still whole. I don't feel like players don't feel like they had an impact on this world, and that's an issue, but it's also a hard problem to solve as well. So they're definitely aware of that. We talked about new depth. We talked about backstory. Yes. Okay. spoke about, this is probably the big one, guys, that I didn't forget. We spoke about scannables. We spoke about law tabs. The big thing in the survey was the restricted nature of scannables and law tabs. Law tabs only being able to provide enough information on items and not being able to provide information on bosses, enemies, and expanding the universe. So we spoke a lot about that. So we spoke about the depth of what was provided and that it wasn't deep enough. And we also spoke about how there was no way for players to access and organize. We spoke about access in game and we spoke about access outside of the game. And we made it very obvious from the survey that I did, players wanted to be able to access it and organize their lore shit and read it in game, but they also want it outside of the game. And that was conveyed very clearly.
I would like, as much as it wasn't a well received idea at the start of Destiny 1, I would love to see another card situation, Grimoire card situation. I really, really would. I think a lot of people are in the same boat. I know a lot of people who aren't into the lore like this. Basically, me back in like vanilla Destiny, I wasn't into the lore. I didn't know anything about it. And I met up with you and Log, and that was it. You know, I'm sort of very muchly into it. I still don't understand it. I'm still not a very smart man. If you've been to any of our communities, but it's definitely one of those things. Yeah, I mean, 100%. But like, I would like to see that make a return, because not for me to read, but for dudes like this guy. Hang on, let me just turn my thumb to the camera. There we go. This guy here.
Hang on, can you
make videos?
Can you do that without your thumb out? Sorry.
But I would love to see. That's a GIF. I would love to see that come make a return. So you have people like Byth, like Myelin Games, like Beard Grizzly, like Taylor Wally, Sir Wallen, to make videos that I can sit there and go, hey, never thought about it that way. You know?
And they are really. Oh wait, I spoke about how that was really important for people to have the opportunity to put things together, and that was an important part of the community. To just like important part of a PvE community is solving an exotic quest together. An important part of a lore community is putting pieces together and having a discussion about the universe. So I made that obvious that it was important to know that all these little bits of puzzle pieces do actually fit together and they do tell a complete picture, but there is some work in doing that. Now the last thing is we did mention the comics as well, and the tone. We mentioned the tone of the comics and the tone of the lore in general is completely off. People miss the mature and the dark tone of Destiny, and one of the most common words used in the survey was childish, and that was interesting feedback to give, but it was received well. That people thought that was childish. It was childish writing, and people want to be treated like clever adults, even though they're playing a T for T game. Right.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be dark. It doesn't have to go into like there was a conversation on my channel the other day that, you know, make it MA 15 plus. I said it's never going to happen. I don't want to see gore in the game. It's not one of those games. I don't want to see gore in the game, but a little bit more serious and a little bit more serious with the writing, and a little bit more serious, a little bit more adult with the writing would be great. You know, like. For goodness sake, like during the mission, during the strike on Titan, old mate is in there, like the stripping light from Guardians. This is a Guardian. This is the Wizard, peeling skin layers off.
Yeah,
that's what it reads like to me. I want
Yeah.
more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things
And
that it's not gory, but it's very descriptive, you know?
And I think it's even more important with a T for T game because they have so much more flexibility to give. You know, like RX is fucking brutal, man. It's a story of
Oh, it's
genocide.
horrifying.
Do you know? So, and that's what created his backstory. That's what created his thing, and that's what created people talking about RX. And if you didn't read the lore, you know, all you need is a video to be popular, and someone put those pieces together. And then you know, Sloth says the log. Did you hear like RX killed a whole bunch of Fallen before he came here? They go, oh really? Oh, that's interesting. Like you know, like that. That's what sort of keeps that universe like growing and like organically growing is to have that sort of you know problem solving together and to have those mature themes that we can talk about and go, wow, that's crazy, man.
You see, like we've said this before on multiple occasions. Like the comic was so it read like to me it was written by a 15-year-old edgelord. Like a fucking Reaper main in Overwatch. I don't want to see things like later haters and all that sort of thing. I want to see Osiris and Sagira. Samira's from the other show she was in. Sagira. I want to see them. It's like, okay, the Vex are doing this. I want to see some serious conversation, not a later haters. No, that's not. No, stop it.
Yeah, I think casting our minds back to like the Taken King, and it was really sort of the first time we saw that step up in a level of in-game storytelling, where you know we had Cade kind of came to the fore. He was always just this dude standing at a table. He became kind of the foundation of what he is now, and I think in that respect. It was kind of on point, and I know that I say that a lot about the Taken King, but it was also like he was the occasional moment of levity in a very serious thing, whereas it stands now, and not necessarily in the game as a whole. I mean, probably more than it was then, but especially in those. Jesus, Matthew.
There's an earthquake here. Sorry,
it's my laptop. LA. Calm down. Where was I? You just smashed my train of thought. With the comics, it never really gets into that serious place to begin with, for there to be that necessity for a moment of levity, so to speak. It's kind of the tone never gets to that point. Like, and it never, and because of that, it never seems genuinely funny either. It's just kind of like the whole thing, and you know that is what it is.
Yeah. You need that juxtaposition. Like you know, I feel like Cade worked best when he had like Eris. Like this fucking
the perfect foil.
Poor Guardian had gone through so much shit, and he's like cracking jokes, and she's like, "Dude, like I've been trapped with the Hive. I've lost my life. Do you see that I have 3 eyeballs that I'm bleeding from constantly? Like, you know, like, so I can all that feedback, right? This is the takeaway. All that feedback I can put into 5 themes." Right, this is the executive summary. This is the conclusion of what I spoke about. Themes. Right, continuity. Okay, that comes down to respecting the foundational law. Cohesiveness. That talks about this synergy between raids, campaigns, exotic quests. There's a cohesiveness to the story. Accessibility. We're talking about in-game and out-of-game, how you as a player access and organize the lore. Depth, how they expand the lore and how they give greater depth and expansion to the universe. And finally, tone, the maturity of the lore returning.
There we go.
Yeah,
that's it.
Valid points. And I really would like to see the writing return. Like, stick with those tenets and see the writing return to a point where people can actually enjoy the darkness of the darkness, but the darkness of the writing, per se.
And you know, like I guess the last thing I want to say is thank you to everyone who completed this survey, and I'm sure that those probably 5 things didn't capture everything, and they're not and you likely have put an opinion down and it wasn't conveyed. However, they were the 5 things that I felt came up the most out of that many surveys, and I think, consider it this way. I was probably one of the few people to get a one-on-one for over an hour to talk about story. Okay, out of anyone there, and I think that means something. Okay, and so if your thing didn't get across, that's okay. We have a dialogue now, hopefully, that can continue with Chris. And I do think that he's a very big advocate for law and story, and I think he's looking forward to reading this Reddit post and passing on that information.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I think...
Do we tempt fate? Do we tempt fate and just do the questions for 10 minutes? And, like, bearing in mind that Matt, I have tried...
Give people the opportunity. Give people the opportunity. Okay. I'll probably say I can't talk about it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions about the Bungie Summit, this is obviously for the Twitch chat. If you have any questions on YouTube, or if you're listening on SoundCloud and you have any questions, please at us on Twitter, at RealTimeSloth, at LogPowerSlave, or at Myelin Games, or at Destiny Down Under, DDU_podcast. But any questions in the Twitch chat about Destiny, the future of Destiny, and what Matt or us can answer, we will try.
Yeah. So the best way to word your questions, guys, is don't ask about specifics. Ask me how I felt, okay? Because I'm allowed to give you my impression of how I felt about the summit. I'm allowed to tell you what questions I asked Bungie. I can't go into the specifics of the answers yet.
While you're doing that, Matt, I need to stretch again because my spine is on fire. I do apologise, ladies and gentlemen, but my spine is on. So please ask away, ladies and gentlemen.
I unfortunately, because I'm running off the hotel Wi-Fi, I can't run this stream at the same time. Otherwise, I'll probably get all pixelated. So
I will play the role of. Hey, this kind of harkens back to the day one of Log and Myelin in a stream together. Me reading out questions for Matt.
Yeah, I mean, more or less. That's how we all did it.
There we go. All right, I'm gonna try and find something that's kind of fitting.
You know what? I'm gonna try to pull it up on my phone. I think that should be fine because I'm on.
No.
Okay.
No, we'll Log and I will get it, Matt.
How did you feel about the story to come? Were you given any indication of a direction, and not what was it? Just how did it make you feel?
Yeah. Okay, so I don't think I mentioned this on air. I think I might have said it off yet. I was on a breaking point where we're deciding whether I should invest any more time in Destiny's story and lore. I was at the point where I was like, you know, I've been cracking on this for 3 years, and, you know, with the way Destiny 2 lore is going, I don't feel like there's going to be things for me to talk about, and, you know, the channel will slowly die, and I'd rather exit the channel feeling really proud of what I produced on that channel and what I made and the experiences I gave people and helping them understand it before it, you know, burnt up and just became an angry mess. My opinion is extremely different after coming back from the summit. I want to go home and play Destiny for the first time in a very long time. I want to prepare for all the new content coming out, and I want to make lore videos so when we do get that release, I'm prepared for it, and I'm up to date with everything that has happened, for what little bits that have happened. My hope is very, very high, and I guess just the bias of that is, you know, I'm here, I'm in the US still. I got to spend an hour talking to a narrative lead on D2 and with Chris Barrett, and I do feel like all of our concerns were heard. They were taking notes. They were asking us questions about what we would like to see, which is just a fucking like crazy thing to be asked. Like something that I wasn't prepared for. Like, hey, so what do you want to see? So I have very high hopes. Yeah.
There's a question here from Slick2423, but like we won't get into anything too serious, but this is a good question. How awesome was it to meet so many passionate people from the Destiny community, Matt?
Yeah, it was. It was. I'm quite like, I'm always shy at this kind of stuff. I wasn't shy with speaking up because I felt the pressure of like, if I don't fucking say something on behalf of the law people, like I have failed, and that pressure over like came over the anxiety of like, speaking up. So that was an issue. But like introducing yourself to other people, and I'm not very good at like promoting my brand and like, hey, I'm Myelin Games.
But you weren't there for brand promotion.
No,
you were
no,
there
neither,
for the love of the
neither.
game. Like
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people went there for that respect, which is good. It's really good to see a lot of tweets came out for people who went there, for the people that I follow on Twitter anyway.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, this is good. It's not, we weren't there for a social meeting. We were there to talk about the state of the game.
Exactly.
We want the game. Like, we represent the millions of players who watch on Twitch, YouTube, who watch podcasts, listen to podcasts, play the game, and we want the game to be good.
Yeah, the in regards to meeting people, it was great. Like, we did have opportunities. We had drinks. All the content creators had breakfast together. Like, I did have Gathalion sitting literally right next to me having breakfast, Lupo across the table, which is just like pretty fucking crazy. And Holtzman, Pope, like all the guys that I watch, were there, and that was cool to meet them and to have conversations with them. And I think as a content creator, I understand they're just normal people as well. It's this weird fucking thing. It's like movie actors and stuff. I don't know why it happens, but there's always like that little bit of anxiety for some reason when it comes to that. Even though you just know that they're just normal people and that that's something that they've been successful at. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
It does. Yeah,
it's completely relatable.
This is a good question as well. So from Mac Attack 72, thank you. While playing the upcoming DLC, if you did play it, which I'm sure you did, were there any wow moments? Now, they do specify rather. You don't go into what wowed you, but was there any sort of holy crap moments?
Yes.
Oh, this is good. This is good to hear. This is good to hear.
I can say my general. I can say my general.
Tell them what you told me, Matt. He didn't tell me. I don't know anything that you don't know. In the audience, if you're listening to this, don't be sitting there going, "That power slave prick knows all this shit." I know nothing. I got on, and half an hour before the show started, I deliberately tried to bust Matt's balls as hard as I could to get him to crack, and he's been absolutely resolute. So, if I can't do it, no one can.
Look. This is all I'm going to say on this. Okay. This is my NDA. Friday, 20th of April, after 4 p.m., I can talk about the following things. I'm going to read you one line. Your general thoughts on the new mode. Okay?
Yep.
That I don't want to say much more. Like, yeah, I was fucking impressed. I instantly thought I'm going to have a shit ton of fun with Log and Sloth doing this. Like, this is going to be fucking hilarious. This is a fun mode.
There we go.
That's it.
Are you talking? So is it PvP or is that?
No, I can't say.
Okay. In before it's another fucking BR, and I'm just like, nah, I'm done with Destiny. Fuck off.
I look. Let me say this. This was one of the funniest moments. M-Tash is a fucking really nice, funny dude. I feel bad because I think I judged M-Tash for his personality, like his YouTube personality. He's actually a really fucking like sweet guy. I know that sounds weird, but like he's a really nice guy, and not that he wouldn't be nice, but like
he comes across very like over the top. Like
I thought there was gonna be like arrogance and overtopness, and he's not like that at all, right? And like we finished the forum, And so he puts his hand up. He's like, so when can we tell them that the BR mode is going to come out? Like straight up, and I was like, it was like the best way to fucking finish, best way to finish the bottom I've ever seen. So funny.
This question comes from Mr. Dino Games. Thank you, Mr. Dino Games. At DDU, for Myelin. Did they mention anything about doing more ancillary materials for Destiny? Example, Fall of Osiris, if so. Anything about trying to make sure to avoid retconning the information provided in the game? Example, Sagira in the game providing a completely different story about Osiris' exile. So, like personal views per se.
So we spoke. I'll put that under the topic of like respecting the law and respecting the foundational law, and we spoke about that a lot, and particularly Osiris, Sagira, and the comics were the main topic of outrage, and I made it very clear that people were very upset with retconning the law. We did talk about some solutions for that as well, which I can't really go into, but we talked about like, how would you solve that, and what do you think is ways we could respond to that as well? Like, how should we respond to those criticisms as well? Yeah. And
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair enough.
This
one's from Big
question.
Man with Big Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Matt, question marks.
Yep.
Exclamation points. Capitals.
Yep.
How much did you enjoy the Warmind content you played? And did it feel like it was better or worse than the Curse of Osiris?
The Warmind content that I played, was it better or worse than Curse of Osiris?
Yes.
I'm just going to quickly look at this and just see.
I'm just reading over my NDA. Making sure I'm
he's hoping that it is better.
Okay. I can talk about how I feel about the upcoming changes. I feel like the Warmind will be slightly better than Osiris. That's how I feel.
Slightly better. Okay.
I do not feel like Warmind is the saving DLC of Destiny 2. I feel like I think everyone should check their expectations. I think there's going to be a lot of good things in the Warmind, but it's not. I don't feel like it's going to blow people away. But we weren't there for that. Like the feedback we gave for that, I don't think that's going to be a shock to anyone. Like, this has already been shipped. The Warmind. I like I said before, I think the future changes, if they are implemented, even the people that get pissed off with the Warmind DLC, I think they'll come back if they can deliver.
There is hope. Like, and I've said this. I've said this to Log. I've said this to Matt.
It is a big hope.
Yeah. That the DLC will give a little tiny bit of an insight. Like, obviously, as Matt said at the top of the cast, what is spoken about in the summit will not be necessarily in the next DLC. However, further updates along the path will bring more of what we want as a community.
Yes,
I think
so.
The thing that we can really take from Warmind is, and even seeing the things like, the changes that they've made to leveling and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not the be-all to end-all, but it's definitely telegraphing the direction that they're moving in with a lot of issues. So
correct.
Look at it that way. I mean, it's
this
unfortunate.
What was before Taken King?
It was House of Wolves.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be better than
House
that.
of Wolves, Prison of Elders was before the Taken King.
Okay, so let's say this. Probably forgettable in a year's time. But what will be rememberable is the next one, big one after that, will be, in my opinion, the Taken King of Destiny 2.
I like that. That's very much the point. Now, there's a question way back here. I don't want you to break your NDA. So like you know that we can all waffle on as much as we want, but I don't want Matt to end up ending up in litigious to Bungie. So this question's from iFire Nation 1. Thank you very much. At Destiny Down Under, how did you feel about D2 re-establishing the connection to D1 so they feel like they are a part of the same world again?
Yeah. I think that comes under the topic we spoke about with continuity. Continuity was a big thing that a lot of people had issues with Curse of Osiris. It didn't feel like it continued anything. Okay, I think I can say this. I brought up the fact that the Iron Lord didn't recognize us. We had a conversation about that. That is not continuous. It does not feel like we're in the same world when we are literally knighted by Lord Zaladin, and he's like, "Hey, g'day, who are you?"
Hey, yeah, I just don't know who you are.
Maybe it's just a dead shit
If you
drunk.
were started on a
shit
different
memory.
console and you were like, I've never done this. Like if you jumped across a PC, that's fine.
Yeah, you can cop that.
You are just another Guardian. But if you've been playing Destiny 1 and you played from the release of Destiny 1 all the way through to Age of Triumph, and the fact that he doesn't remember you, come on.
Yep. Yes.
Anyway, but regardless,
so we spoke about continuity. Okay.
Yeah.
And that comes in the broad banner of respecting the lore as well.
Yeah. All right. I think that'll be it for the time being. I know, Matt, you've got things on today and all that sort of thing. Log and I have to do family things.
Back to the real world after talking about Destiny.
Back to the real world. But ladies and gentlemen, in the Twitch chat, thank you very much for joining. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to Myelin about the summit. If you have any questions, please at us on Twitter. At Myelin Games, at LogPowerSlave, at Realtime Slothor, at DDU_podcast.
Here's the podcast one. Hit that one. You'll find everything about podcast on that. And
there's
retweet literally everyone's everything through it. So it's
just look out if you're either following me or DDU, because I'm sure DDU will retweet my tweet. Just look out for the survey that will be tagging Christopher Barrett in there. That will be a Reddit post, because that will have the survey results. That will have my notes that I took to that meeting. That will have a summary of this conversation. So if someone misses it, they don't have time to watch this vlog, they can go and read that.
Beautiful.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions on in YouTube, please hit us below with some questions on YouTube. We'll try and get back to those as soon as we can. Same with our audio listeners, Twitter, YouTube, whatever it is that you want to ask. We'll just add us on YouTube or Twitter, and we'll try our best to do so. Thank you very much for joining, ladies and gentlemen. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Especially if you're new. We've had quite a few new people pop up. I assume that, there's a lot of people who are very interested in what Matt's had to say. And while he's here every week, it's been kind of a different episode in that I feel like we've been interrogating him somewhat, but that is what it's about. And, thanks for, firstly, Matt, just putting up with it for 2 hours. I know that you're excited to talk about it and all, but,
it's exciting to talk about. And do you know what? It's good prep. It's good practice. I was actually a bit nervous. Like I haven't had to sort of adhere to NDA stuff before, so it's good practice. And I'll probably be nervous about posting stuff. So this was a nice little practice of what I can say and what I can talk about. And it's been fun, man. It's been fun. I can't wait to share more.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the Twitch chat, we're going to go and raid a Destiny 2 a streamer. We go over there, we say good day a lot, spam all the emotes, give him all the love. His name is OEF Vet 2006. He's currently doing a raid layer. So if you'd like to come with us and join in on that, that would be muchly appreciated. Thank you again. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to check out our personal channels, they'll be linked in the YouTube video. And safe journey home, Matt. Safe trip home, man.
I'll
And
see
then
you
you-
in 2
you-
days' time.
And then you'll get home, and then you have to get back on a plane and bugger off again.
I do.
You really do.
The
He's not
life,
even
the
joking,
life
he
of
really
Merlin
does.
games.
I do. I got to go back to the real world and prepare a couple of conference presentations.
Oh god, have you got a new? Have we decided on a new sign off for you yet, man?
Oh mate, I've been and I've found the law, baby. Fucking the law's gonna find you
He's
again.
found the law,
Yeah, it's
man.
back, man.
The law's gonna come
The
creeping
law
in your
will
windows at night
I-
again.
I can fucking tell you with confidence, the law will find you, people. It might not be with the Warmind, but he'll fucking get you. I'm telling you.
All right, well we might leave it at that. I can't threaten you anymore about law, and I don't think we even need to. So it's been a pleasure, gentlemen, and I'll look forward to catching. Man, we got you next week, or are you off?
No, I'll be here next week.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any questions? We'll answer you then. Please jump over, follow the raid, say good day a lot, and generally have a good time. That's what we do here on the DDU. So rock and roll. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Thank you.